Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our ISC proposal presentation. We are hereby to propose our plan to farm a research product to successfully get approvals of RIAN in worldwide market. Our main underlying strategy is to minimize the time and the effort that needs to be put while maximizing the drug's potential to build an innovative breakthrough. Now, how are we going to do this? We would like to get an approval from FDA first, believing that its approval of the drug will bring RIAN an opportunity to take a step forward to the global market. One of our main reasons for choosing the FDA is to market our product RIAN in the US. North America is known for the highest eye drops and lubricants market share. Besides, with the fact that RIAN can be used as a supplementary good of contact lenses, we can assume that the United States of America's big contact lens market will lead to a large eye drop sales. Furthermore, out of 103 drugs approved in the year 2018, 94 drugs product has been approved by the FDA out of total 103 drug products. This means that it is widely considered that approval of a drug from FDA acts as a basis, expediting further approval for other authorities. Now, let us introduce further procedures of FDA approvals.
To get approval from the FDA, it is imperative that we understand their approval pathways and the required dossiers. First, investigation of new drug application is a submission to the FDA requesting permission to initiate a clinical study of a new drug product. These are the required dossiers. Drug master file is a submission to the FDA to provide confidential, detailed information about a novel active pharmaceutical ingredient. In our case, we will need a DMF for the active ingredient PDRN. These are the required dossiers. New drug application is a document submitted to the regulatory authorities for permission to market a new drug product. Again, in our case, we will need to submit an NDA for RIAN. These are the required dossiers. Supplementary NDA is requested to the FDA when there are certain changes to an already approved drug, such as formulation, indication, and etc.
Here's our suggestion of regulatory plans on RIAN. The drug is sold without a need for a prescription in Korea. However, it would be a good idea to get FDA approval initially as a prescription drug and then changing it to an over-the-counter drug by Rx to OTC switch. But why risk such a complicated method instead of a direct approval as an OTC? First, you must take in mind that in the FDA's point of view, PDRN is a new material that has never been approved in their country before. Thus, it cannot enter OTC monograph. So let's cross out the first option. Second thing is that the required dossiers for NDA of an OTC drug are identical with those of prescription drugs. Either you take the second option or the third, you will have to file an identical document. Now, by taking the third action, Rx to OTC switch, you can guarantee the FDA of the safety profile of RIAN with accumulated clinical and post-marketing data and benefit from the market exclusivity without generic competition. Let's have a closer look at Rx to OTC switch. What is it and how is it done? The FDA will approve the switch when the drug seems safe and effective for use in self-medication. Rx products can be switched to OTC by the following means. OTC drug review is initiated by the FDA commissioner, where they request sponsors to submit OTC applications if they believe that this shift may benefit the general public. The second means is to submit an efficacy supplement to the existing NDA, which is what we are going to do. This is the means to switch an Rx product in its entirety to OTC. These listed here are required for the switch in addition to the already existing NDA. Years of post-marketing safety surveillance and literature reports allow for the accumulation of drug-specific safety data. Also, a comprehensive review of safety with efficacy and safety information of the active ingredient must be presented, demonstrating that RIAN is safe to use in the OTC environment. You can find more information from this part of the CFR. The third requirement, new OTC drug facts labeling, abbreviated as DFL, will be further discussed on the next slide. This picture is the standard format of the DFL, clarified in this docket. One unique aspect of the switch is that it requires these such DFLs presented in terms likely to be understood by ordinary individuals. 4 types of consumer studies are conducted to test the conformance of the new label. In label comprehension studies, the most effective DFL is developed through a questionnaire provided to the participants, evaluating the comprehension of key facts on the label. With this label, self-selection studies test whether consumers can apply the information acquired from the label to their personal medical history and make a correct decision. Actual use studies help stimulate the OTC use of the product and determine whether the consumer uses the drug safely and effectively after the correct self-selection. Human factor studies will also be conducted to assess the adequacy of the combination product user interface design, eliminating potential use-related hazards.
After approval, REON, changes and variations such as formulation alteration, indication expansion, and combination are recommended. In this case, you'll be taking the sNDA route. Pay keen attention to additional tests and dossier in preparation for approval. First up is formulation alteration. REON is an ophthalmic solution with disadvantages of short retention time and low bioavailability. So strategically, you must tackle this through formulation alteration. Quality tests are essential for ophthalmic preparation, and they are listed here along with efficacy tests. The first formulation suggested is ophthalmic ointment. Tests exclusively required for this specific preparation are written here. Another formulation suggested is ocular inserts. Additionally required tests are also listed here. The second form of variation we recommend is indication expansion. Aside from these already approved indications, potential of 2 new indications will be discussed soon. Typical tests required for indication expansion are listed here. The first indication for additional approval is recovery after ophthalmic surgery. This indication is quite attractive in that a clinical trial has shown that using PDR in eye drops after photorefractive keratectomy stimulated corneal regeneration. The second indication is bacterial keratitis, which comes along with approval for combination with topical antibiotics. Evidence support that using PDRN is expected to accelerate corneal recovery hampered by topical antibiotics. Additionally required dossier for combinations are listed here. This first dossier must be very new to you since it is unique to this specific variation. In the case of new combination, you can utilize the information that has been previously submitted by another applicant. Therefore, patent information and certification allowing the usage of such information must be prepared as well.
For a successful approval, we must foresee and prepare for any problem that may arise while trying to get approval. First one is about lack of data. Compared to Korea, US population is racially and ethnically diverse. Therefore, the FDA could demand additional clinical data, and in this case, we can find additional data with new inclusion criteria or replan clinical trials. Preventive action could be checking the essential ethnicity data thoroughly by reviewing the previously approved INDs. Second possible problem is about production scale-up. As we start exporting to other countries, more facilities will be needed. We can expand the original factory or build a new one at a foreign location. We suggest signing a contract with Masterless production site in Italy, since it has already received GMP inspection certificate.
For exportation, we selected 3 countries, which are the EMA of the European Union, the PMDA of Japan, and the TGA of Australia. This is a brief comparison between 3 countries' regulatory procedure. Firstly, EMA is advantageous in that a single application process called centralized procedure can lead to marketing authorization at 28 European Union countries. Moreover, the EMA exempts Korean manufacturing sites from one-site inspection. Also, EMA's credibility will play a positive role in approval at other countries. Secondly, we chose Japan because of its similarity with Korea. Japan requires submitting dossier containing clinical data about the influence of different ethnicity. Such breaching data would be unnecessary for REON since Korea and Japan share ethnicity factor. The last country is Australia. The TGA collaborates with other regulatory bodies like FDA US, EMA Europe, PMDA Japan by designating them as comparable overseas regulator. Since REON would have FDA approval by this time point, receiving approval through our CORA will shorten the procedure to only 120 days.
Many regulatory authorities are reinforcing regulations related to risk management plan. As part of this trend, here we'll focus on the 3 elements of the withdrawal plan. Element 1, depth of recall. For the sake of efficiency, we suggest a top-down procedure, which starts from the intermediate wholesale level, moving on to retail and to the consumer level. Element 2, public warning. Notification will be disseminated through 3 different media shown here. To give you a clear understanding of the necessary information that public warnings must include, we brought Francine Kabi's recent recall notification. The necessary contents are listed in the blue box, so pay attention to them. Element 3, effectiveness checks. Effectiveness checks are done to verify that all consignees are aware of the withdrawal process. We suggest that the means of contact change in this order. Recall status reports on progress should be sent to regulatory bodies for any feedback. Thank you for your attention, and we hope our strategy provided a stepping stone for Rion's entrance to global market.